myself and nobody else. And if I feel like drinking champagne, I'm drinking it. I'm pleasing myself and nobody else. If I feel like climbing a mountain, I'm climbing it. I'm pleasing myself and nobody else. I'm pleasing myself, I'm pleasing and nobody else.
It's always a better choice. My one and only station.
DBS Radio.
Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headlines.
In the headlines, the 2025 DBS Radio Felix Henderson National Reading Competition officially launches tomorrow. In news from the region, CARICOM aligns tax treaty with international standards. And internationally, Israel orders evacuations of southern Gaza city of Rafah. Good evening, I am Leila Langford. Details of the news when we return.
Too often, customers are counted but not valued. Like mere numbers, statistics, transactions. But at Flow, we're prioritizing you, our valued customers who have been with us through every milestone, every moment. That's why we're putting our money where your loyalty is. Flow customers claim up to $400 in rewards for smartphones, groceries, and more when you add mobile to your current internet plan. Because loyalty isn't a one-way street. At Flow, loyalty flows both ways.
DBS News.
Welcome back. In our lead story this evening, the 15th edition of the DBS Radio Felix Henderson National Reading Competition will be officially launched tomorrow. The competition is being held under the theme Reading and Calypso. Assistant Coordinator of the National Reading Competition is Annadale Jacob.
The 2025 DBS Radio Felix Henderson National Reading Competition, headline sponsored by Dragon Windows, kicks off tomorrow, Tuesday, April 1st, 2025, with the media launch at the UWI Global Campus Auditorium from 10 a.m. This year will be the 15th edition of the competition, and it will be held under the theme Reading and Calypso, highlighting part of Dominica's cultural heritage. To bring this theme to fruition, DBS Radio has partnered with the Dominica Calypso Association. The first round gets underway on Monday, April 7th, 2025.
Assistant Coordinator of the DBS Radio Felix Henderson National Reading Competition, Annadale Jacob. The Jamaican reggae artist Itana is among the star-studded lineup for this year's Jazz and Creole Festival. The event will take place on May 4th, 2025 at Fort Shirley, Cabarets National Park. This year's event will be held under the theme Sunset Creole Chic.
Legendary swinging stars Abia Israel, Marie Pascal, Shalina, Carlin XP, Colton T, the internationally acclaimed Etienne Charles, Dominica's own powerhouse, Marie-Claire Giraud, Signal Band, the Hitmakers, and to close our stellar lineup, the international reggae icon Itana. Join us on May 4th, 2025 at Fort Shirley from 2 p.m. for a journey into music and Creole culture.
In other news this evening, Dominica is embarking on the development of an integrated agriculture land use plan. The Ministry of Agriculture is working in collaboration with the Food and Agriculture Organization and the University of the West Indies, UWI Caville Campus, Barbados, through its Center for Resource Management and Environmental Studies.
The integrated agricultural land use plan has been deemed necessary and urgent. This project, through the support of FAO, seeks to create a framework for multi-stakeholder and multi-sectoral processes that culminate in an integrated land use plan with shared vision and goals, and representative of the ambitions of Dominica for food security and socio-ecological resilience. It contributes to the wider and strategic ambition of becoming a primus resilient country in the world. It will help give clear directions to pragmatic resource management actions necessary to address the multifaceted and complex land use issues, mitigate resource and environmental degradation, support tenure security and decisions, encourage investment in agriculture and land management, and foster cooperation among many land users and decision makers. It is noteworthy, however, that without institutional anchorage and legal policy backing, land use plans are ineffective and they only remain as they are plans. There is no way Dominica can be resilient if a significant proportion of its population is unable to afford a healthy diet. It is therefore imperative that urgent actions are taken in all domains to raise incomes and reduce the cost of healthy diets in Dominica.
Dr. David Yasson, Director of the Center for Resource Management and Environmental Studies at the University of the West Indies, UWI, Keville Campus, Barbados. The Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities is set to host an employment symposium. Treasurer and former Executive Director of the Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities, Nathalie Murphy, says this initiative aims to help reduce the unemployment rate among people with disabilities in Dominica.
So we want to, during the course of the 5-year program, organize employment symposium. So we're going to have different presentations on possible employment for persons with disabilities. We'll be having exhibitions. We're showing what some of the skills and the talents that persons with disabilities. We will, just promoting the fact that persons with disabilities can be employed, and highlighting too that when persons with disabilities become employed in the workforce, they do it loyally. They are loyal. They don't have too many distractions. Employers can rest assured that they will get productivity from these persons, because hard as it is for them to get employed, they still have to work very hard to maintain the employment. So we are going to ensure that we highlight some of the areas where persons with disabilities can be employed in the workforce, and equally there are persons with disabilities who have their little own cottage industries. We will be promoting that.
Treasurer and former Executive Director of the Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities, Nathalie Murphy. Minister of State in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, Senator Oscar George, says the National Youth Development Division is working towards providing National Vocational Qualification Certification for participants who complete their programs. Senator George says a review of the programs being provided by the National Youth Development Division is currently underway.
The program serves to build a strong foundation for personal and professional growth of our young people. We believe that the many success stories from this program can serve as motivation for other young people to acquire relevant skills and in the process redefine their abilities for personal and professional success. Lately, the division have been on a quest to review the various offerings and implement programs that can better prepare the youth with technical skills needed for the jobs of the future. Also, we will work towards NVQ certification to ensure that upon completion of a skills program, participants can obtain a certificate that is recognized both nationally and regionally.
Minister of State in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, Senator Oscar George. In our feature segment this evening, we highlight Rennie Francis, a Dominican who has recently climbed the ranks of the New York City Police Department. Francis was recently appointed commanding officer of the Grand Larceny Division and the Financial Crimes Task Force of the New York City Police Department. Renee Francis is our feature on the DBS Evening News.
I bring Dominica with me wherever I go. That has been the case with the police department. From the moment I left to pursue my studies in college, I brought Dominica with me. My heritage, my culture, just my upbringing. So in the police department, every rank I've achieved, I've been promoted to, I've brought my culture with me. And it makes me extremely proud to be one of the few Dominicans in the police department excelling at a high level. So I'm extremely proud that I can do that and I can represent Dominica as best as I can in every position that I'm able to work in. I mean, when I took the position as the commanding officer of the Grand Larceny Division and Financial Crimes Task Force, my objective has always been the same no matter what position I've taken. How best can we come together as a team of detectives, sergeants, lieutenants to find the people ultimately responsible for these crimes and put them away? And how can we recoup victim funds and ensure that someone else will not fall for fraud or will not be the victim of fraud? So I hope to achieve the highest level of clearance in cases, which basically means that in my tenure while I'm there, I would hope that majority of the grand larceny patterns that we investigate ultimately end in arrest. Policing was not a profession that ultimately was on my to-do list. I studied science and I wanted to work in a lab. So I always ask people when they look at me and they say, hey, would you recommend this? I always ask them, well, what's your ultimate dream? What is it that you love doing? And for me, I like science. I love solving problems through science. And policing is sort of like that. The advice I would give to a young girl who wants to join this profession is just ask yourself, what do you enjoy doing? Because policing is not all glitz and glamour, right? There is ultimately the initial phase of doing patrol, understanding the basis of policing, which is, answering 911 jobs, responding to the scene of crimes, live crimes, and being able to handle that before you can even decide if you can, work as a detective and then ultimately supervise detectives. So the piece of advice I would give a young girl who ultimately wants to join the police department would be to, talk to more police officers around you, see if ultimately that's something that you would want to do or can do or would enjoy doing, because no one goes directly from the police academy to being a detective. You have to do the grunt work. You have to do the field work first before you can ultimately learn the skills of being a detective.
Renee Francis, who was our feature on the DBS Evening News. And that's the national focus, regional and international developments up next.
Too often, customers are counted but not valued. Like mere numbers, statistics, transactions. But at Flow, we're prioritizing you, our valued customers who have been with us through every milestone, every moment. That's why we're putting our money where your loyalty is. Flow customers claim up to $400 in rewards for smartphones, groceries, and more when you add mobile to your current internet plan. Because loyalty isn't a one-way street. At Flow, loyalty flows both ways.
DBS News.
In news from the region, a senior official of the Guyana-based CARICOM Secretariat has said that the 15-member regional integration grouping is moving towards updating tax treaties to align them with international standards and rules. Director of Economic Policy and Development at the CARICOM Secretariat, Evelyn Wynne, said the CARICOM Council for Finance and Planning recognizes the importance of tax cooperation and the shifts in the international tax landscape. Wynne said, as a result, it was decided that the CARICOM Tax Treaty should be updated to accommodate the international tax standards and rules that CARICOM member states have committed to adopt over the time. And internationally, the Israel military has issued a sweeping new evacuation order for the southern Gaza Strip. The military instructed residents of the city of Rafah and parts of neighboring Khan Yunis to leave immediately and warned that its forces were returning to intense operations to dismantle the capabilities of the terrorist organizations in the area. About a fifth of Gaza is now covered by evacuation orders. And that's news. The DBS Evening Sports up next.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Well, good evening. I'm Gavin Richards with the DBS Evening Sports Report, and let's bowl off with some cricket news. As the Cricket West Indies president, Dr. Kishore Shalhu, has hailed the leadership of the former West Indies Test captain Craig Brathwaite, where Brathwaite stepped down as the West Indies captain today. Dr. Shalhu says Brathwaite indicated his intention to step down during the last Test series against Pakistan. The CWI president said that Brathwaite has been a good servant to the game.
After the first match, Craig actually reached out to me as president, suggesting that he was going to announce his resignation pretty much on that tour. This was before the second match, second test. And so I told him it may not be the most opportune time to announce. And he explained to me the reasons why he wanted to move on from captaincy then. Explain as a case where he enjoys the responsibility, but he believes he could give the team more. And he agreed to postpone the announcement. He then went on. Not only did he agree then, but you saw his performance in that final test match in Pakistan. So I want to thank Craig profoundly for being the true leader that he really is, and for by no means, and he has said this to me, he is fully committed to playing for West Indies. He told me he has a few more years in his tank, so I was quite happy to hear that. And I'm certain that being only 2 test matches shy of 100 tests, I suspect the selectors may give him that chance. I'm not twisting anybody's arm, but I only imagine that he will play those 100 tests at some point. And whenever he does achieve that, Cricket West Indies will be right there celebrating with him.
And that's CWI President Dr. Kishore Shalhu. No announcement has been named on the replacement for Craig Brathwaite as Test captain. Brathwaite's official tenure as Test captain began in 2021, and under his leadership, the West Indies secured their first Test victory in Australia in 27 years and a landmark Test victory over Pakistan in Pakistan, the first in 34 years. His captaincy also saw the West Indies defeat England at home in 2022 and claim a 2-0 series win over Bangladesh in challenging conditions during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2021, where Brathwaite says it was an honour to lead West Indies cricket.
These victories reflect our team's resilience, and I'm proud of what we've achieved. We've achieved it together. But leadership is also about knowing when to pass the baton. And I believe this is the right time for someone else to wear the cap. I've spoken with our president, Dr. Kishore Shalhu, and incoming head coach, Darren Sammy, and I look forward to working with them as a committed member of the squad. To our passionate West Indian fans, thank you for your unwavering support. We must always do what's best for the team, and I'm confident this decision will help us build on our success. Let's continue to rally around the West Indies and push our cricket to even greater heights.
And that's the former West Indies Test captain Craig Brathwaite. Meantime, the white ball team also enters a new phase as Shea Hope assumes the role of T20 international captain in addition to his existing ODI captaincy. Well, Shea Hope is replacing Rovman Powell, who led the T20 side since May of 2023. Under Powell's leadership, the West Indies enjoyed a resurgence in T20 cricket, securing home victories against India, England and South Africa, and playing a key role in the team's 9th to 5th place in the ICC T20 rankings. Well, Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket Miles Bascom says that Rovman Powell did a good job as captain, and he thinks that Shea Hope can take the team to the next level.
Shea Hope will take over as T20 captain. So that will make him the official captain of both white ball formats. Shea has really proven himself as a leader. His last 9 ODIs, he has won 6 since the series starting the year in Australia. And we think that Shea is going to help us to move our white ball teams in the direction that we want to go. It's about alignment, and we think that Shea is the right person to take us into the future, including our World T20, next World T20 scheduled for India and Sri Lanka.
And that's Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket Miles Bascom. In some volleyball news this evening, Sunrise completed a clean sweep over R&D as the KFC National Volleyball League continued over the weekend. Well, Sunrise took the men's Division 2 match against R&D in 5 sets. Sunrise won the first set and they dropped the next 2 before rallying back to win sets 4 and 5. The final score in that game, 25-21, 23-25, 26-28, 25-17 and 15-12. Meantime, in the men's Division 1, Sunrise secured a straight sets win over R&D, while the Sunrise women won in 4 sets, beating R&D 25-20, 22-25, 25-4 and 25-17. In the other women's match last weekend, the defending champions Aces beat the Breakers in straight sets. In some football news, 2-time defending DFA Premier League champions Central Cooperative Credit Union Dubla FC have moved to the top of the points table as they trashed the Belfast Estate Mahu Soka Strikers as that tournament continued yesterday at the Benjamin's Park. Well, Odelaville got 2 goals and Brielle Thomas, Maconi Roy and Irvin Shillingford added a goal each as Dubla took the match 5-0. In yesterday's other game, Petro Caribbean Point Michel won the battle of the Point Michel clubs as they pounded newcomers DSFC, handing them their 3rd defeat of the season. Point Michel took the match 5-1 with 2 goals coming from Kyle Del Sol and 1 each from Justin Kazimi, Malaka Labad and Masharano Million. Well, Nick Carrier got the lone goal for DSFC. Meantime, the Roosevelt Skerrit Bombers made it 2 straight wins as they defeated Valvoline United 1-0 at the Benjamin's Park on Saturday. Ricardo Libra scored the lone goal for the match for the Bombers, and in other matches, Jason Joseph got a late goal as Promex Harlem United salvaged a draw with Surgical Southeast. Joseph scored in the 90th minute as Harlem and Southeast played to a 2-2 draw. We also had Dante Warrington scoring for Harlem, while Adrian Lawrence and Darren Lazar scored for Southeast. In other results, Midland United registered their first win of the season, beating Connect 767 Courts Ready Cash East Central. Midland took that game 3-1, with goals coming from Josimar Gustav, and also we had another goal coming from Clemson Isaac, while Nathan Newton scored the lone goal for East Central. In some more sports this evening, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has announced that funding has been secured for the lighting of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. Well, the stadium has been without lights since the passage of Hurricane Maria in 2017. The Prime Minister says that the Dominican National Lotteries will commit in the region of $14 million for the project.
We had to go a different route for the funding of the lights of the stadium. I was able to finalize this on Friday, Thursday gone. So that is in stock. The lawyers are now finalizing the attorneys are now finalizing the agreement, and to ensure that we get value for money. So once they finalize the agreement, then somebody will sign it. and we will proceed. So, but the money for sure is available. That has been secured in full. It's a huge project. It's costing in the region of about $14 million. So I don't really think it's just two lights you put on a pole, a dominant pole, and then you have lights. It's a very expensive undertaking. We're all ready to go, and the supplier are ready to supply and to install. So at least the headache of the finalization of the funding has been set aside, which was a major issue. The financing is in order. Just to say that the national lotteries will finance lights. So it's a major investment that the national lotteries is making. So I met with the chairman and board members on Tuesday last week, and that has been finalized, and I think we're all ready to go.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt. Let's go back to cricket news as national cricketer Courtney Ansem put in an all-round shift to lead the Soufriere Knight Riders to the 2025 Kasani Laville Mahu Premier Softball Cricket title, beating the Siniku Red Force in the finals last night at the Mahu playing field. When Red Force batted first, they got just 103 for 9 in their 20 overs. Lawrence Wilshire got 24 not out, and Dorian John and Kenny Valmont got 15 runs each. Kurt Martin picked up 4 for 12 for the Soufriere team, with John Matthew getting 2 for 14, Courtney Ansem 2 for 22. The Knight Riders in reply, they made 104 for 2 in 16.4 overs, with Courtney Ansem scoring 40 not out and Jason Alexander 32 not out. Knight Riders winning the game by 8 wickets. But Clem Nicholas is the captain of the Soufriere Knight Riders team.
I think it was a good looking run. They got some runs, and then we get back ourselves into the mood, and then we ended right there.
All right, let's talk about the bowling effort, because Kurt Martin, also John Matthew, and we had some good bowlers as well for you guys. So let's talk me through the bowling after how you guys set the tone for you tonight.
Well, Kurt Martin, already is a specialist bowler. He had a great spell tonight. John Matthew, Jason, they come and give the all. So it was very pleasant, and yeah, it was very good.
All right, and Courtney Ansem came in for a real good all-round performance, bowling-wise, and then leading with the bat, 14 not out in the bat. A quick word on Courtney Ansem and what he brought to the game tonight.
Well, as you know, Courtney is a national player. When you go there, all they tell him to take his time, to play cricket. He's a run the ball and go ahead and do his job. And that's exactly what he did.
And that's the Clem Nicholas, the Soufriere Knight Riders captain. We had Courtney Ansem being named the man of the match and Kurt Martin being named the tournament MVP. In some netball news, To the Max and Netball Academy of St. Lucia captured the inaugural netball, or that should be Nature Isle Netball Showdown title, completing an unbeaten run in the tournament which ended last weekend at Windsor Park. The St. Lucians won all 3 matches by huge margins, including beating Dominica's Celtics team 68-20 in their final match Saturday evening. Coach of the St. Lucian team, Shem Maxwell, says she was happy with her girls' dominance.
Coming in here, we were not sure what teams we were going to be facing, but then when we get into the tournament, then we realized, okay, maybe it's going to be an easy one for us, because our girls have been training, and some of them are young. We have under 16 players, and we also have girls who will be representing at Windward Island School Games.
All right, it says you have a number of national players on your club. So, what does it say about, the programs in St. Lucia, that you guys are so right at the top right now?
Yeah, for us, most of the girls are girls I've coached before from the under 16 level. So I just brought them together so we could formulate this team. We've been there for not more than 3 years now. And we're the reigning champions in St. Lucia from last year's championship. And I just want to keep them together because they could be the future of netball back home.
Easy wins for you guys, blowout wins, but how did you keep the girls composed, and not let them get their guard down, lead to any complacency as you move through the tournament?
Yeah, that's why we were allowing everybody to play, because we realized then, okay, yes, everybody has a chance to play those games. When it comes to composure, they know me, I'm that outgoing person, fun person, and I always talk to them for them to understand what I say. So I think for them it was just taking it easy and doing what they're supposed to do on the court.
And that was a coach of the To The Max Netball Academy of St. Lucia, Shem Maxwell. The Shakira Lockhart Spartans finished in second place, Celtics third, and Colibri Girls of Guadeloupe finished in 4th place. And we have some more sports coming in this evening, as the Pierre Charles Secondary School have secured an easy win over the St. Mary's Academy, as the Sports Division Secondary Schools Under 20 boys basketball competition continued this afternoon. Pierre Charles Secondary School coasted to the 68 36 win, and in the process they remained unbeaten so far in this year's competition. We will give you some more details on that game in the morning sports tomorrow. And we can also quickly tell you that the national athlete and Carifta Games gold medalist Addison James entered the record books on his way to a second place finish in the boys under 20 javelin event at the Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Championships in Jamaica on the weekend. But Addison James, throwing for the Edwin Allen High School, set a new meet record, a new schools record, and a new national record in the process. He threw a best of 65.08 meters in the 800-gram weight class to finish in second place. He just narrowly missed out